Hello chess lovers. The game this time is played at Porto Roach in 1958 between Fischer against Larsen with Sicilian defense opening. In this game, Fischer holds the white and Larsen holds black. Okay, let's get straight to the game. The game starts with a pawn e4 and black return pawn c5. Knight f3, black pawn d6. White pawn d4 invites a pawn exchange, and the exchange is accepted. A pawn captures a pawn. The knight chases pawn. Black knight steps to f6, threatens pawn in e4. Knight b3 protects the pawn. Pawn d6, preparing the bishop. Dark white bishop f3, black dark bishop d7. Pawn f4 strengthens pawn protection. Black does short castling. White queen d2, black knight c6 invites knight exchange. White is not interested. Instead, the white steps his bright bishop into c4, threatening the king's protective pawn. Knight catches knight. In response, the bishop catches the knight while pressing the other knight. Black ignoring threat. Black steps bright bishop to e6, attacking the white bishop. White bishop retreats to b3. Black queen a5 initiates pressure on the king. White does a long castling, responded with the aggressiveness of the b5 pawn. King b2 adds pawn escort. Black continues to press by advancing pawns to b4, threatening the knight. This threat is repaid by the knight with a jump to d5 doing gambit. Bishop catches knight. Bishop catches bishop, at once attack the rook. Black rook dodges to c8. The bright white bishop returns to b3, closing the movement of the pawns. Rook c7, preparing to align the rook. After holding on for a long time, white finally initiates the attack by advancing the pawn to h4. Queen b5. The white pawn continues to attack, moving to h5 square, threatening the pawn. Black doesn't seem to notice that it's a threat and stick to the scenario by aligning the rook to c8. Pawn catches pawn, and the pawn catches pawn in return. This makes the h-file open and immediately controlled by the white rook. White strikes again with another pawn to g4. Responds to attack by black, pawn a5. Ignoring the black attack, the white pawn continues forward. g5 threatens the knight. The knight dodges h3. The rook catches the knight while simultaneously doing the gambit. In return, the pawn captures the rook and makes the pawn box p6 empty. The square is immediately filled by the white pawn by stepping forward and simultaneously pressing the black pawn that is pinned by the bishop. Black pawn e5 threatens the dark bishop. This threat was ignored. White continued to attack by moving the pawn to catch the pawn. Check. King dodged to h8. Only then does the dark White bishop dodges the threat to e3. Black then moves a pawn to d5, performing a gambit to lure the bright white bishop to leave its comfortable square at b3. However, this inducement didn't work. The black pawn is not caught by the bishop, but is caught by the pawn. Rook catches this annoying pawn, however, with the consequence of abandoning the plan of aligning the rook attack. The white pawns continue to press. This time, the white pawn advanced to d6. Black responds with the rook f6. Dark bishop g5 threatens the rook. Black queen b7. Let's analyze this movement. If black avoids the threat of the bishop by capturing this unprotected pawn, then white will answer by shifting its dark bishop to h8, gambit. If black answered by catching the bishop, the queen would reply to catching the bishop, checkmate. If black evades to f6, queen g2 threatens the rook. The rook dodges to f5, the bishop will retaliate. e6 threatens the rook again. The rook has no other way and is certain to be caught. That's why in the original game, black moved the queen to h7, creating the king's lines of defense at the expense of the black rook. But this line of defense and sacrifice is in vain, because the black king will checkmate in 3 moves. First, the bishop catches the rook, and the bishop catches the bishop. The white pawn returns to action by stepping into d7, attacking the rook and closing the defense line made by the queen. Rook avoids threat to d8. Finally, the white queen h6, checkmate. That was the interesting match of Bobby Fischer in 1958 against Larsen.